So my name is Andrew Fay. I work for the Whatcom Conservation District, if you guys don't know already. I am IT GIS. I've been working with SmartSheets for 6-7 years now, I think. I'm not terribly sure, but
I think it's probably five. 2020 is when we really rolled it out.
Dawn's the bookkeeper and she uses SmartSheets as well.
We've been a little bit for like the 2020, we jumped in.
Yeah.
with the
During
lockdown.
during the lockdown, so handy. And I'll show you some of the stuff we came up with during that time. Oh, you can't hear me. Okay, so we started it. I think it was Palouse that kind of jumped on the bandwagon first, and then we all followed along because we liked it so much. So a little background on SmartSheets. The easiest definition I've found is Excel on steroids. It's very handy for a lot of things. This is our dashboard for our district. You can see when I install computers for everyone, I create this as one of their buttons up at the top, so they always have easy access to it. This is our in and out board. I've shown this off before, but I will show it off again. If I'm in, I will say in, save, and I'll go back. And it does take a few minutes. You notice it's light green. And if I do it again, it'll go dark green. And this is all conditional formatting. After 24 hours, it goes to light green. Same with the dark blue for remote, light blue after 24 hours. And the 24 hours is an easy indicator of it's been a while since they've actually done their in and out. And off to the right, you can see when it was last modified. So you can actually say, oh, this person hasn't logged in or out for this many days.
And it says there in the field there,
Yep.
that it's been 4 days.
Yep. So we can choose times, and here you can actually, we do just a basic site visit. We had other ones in there, but people just don't use them. So they just type in whatever they want. And if I put this to out again, it's going to change it to dark red. And after 24 hours, it'll be pink after that. And this is just a contact field. Come on. Okay. Yeah. Oh, this is a report. That's why. Very handy for knowing where your employees are, especially if they go out in the field a lot. I tend to forget to use this because I don't go out in the field very often, as you can imagine. We don't use it at the end of the day. Because we have normal hours, everyone knows each other's hours usually. We don't use it at the end of the day. It's when you go out or you're going to be on vacation or something like that. Or I'm going out. Yeah, I'm going out and I'm going to be back at this time. Or here's a phone number I'm going to be at where it doesn't have cell reception, but it does have a landline. That kind of stuff. Nice and easy on as an in and out board. And we had an in and out board and I just kind of replicated it. It was a code base that we bought like 10 years before and we were using it. And George at the time said, build me an in and out board. And I did, and it works pretty well. Does it have templates? What do you mean? Oh, for not in and out board, but for SmartSheets? I believe it does. I never use yeah, I just build it and build off of what I have already. So let's go into the actual sheet for that. So all this stuff here on this, we'll go over that in a second. It's all built off of a It's all in this particular folder called team members. I'm gonna go back on there. I'm gonna skip around here a bit. And come on. And this is in this folder. All the forms and that kind of stuff are in here. And then dashboard elements are in here. And where's my in and out board? There it is. So I can build my conditional formatting right here. And it says if status in is chosen as in, it will change the status or it is today, then apply this format, green. If the status is in and the date is in the past, which is another calculation field that is built into that I've created in that form, it will turn it light green. So all that conditional formatting does is all this stuff. It does all the coloring. It does take a little bit of time to do it. It's not instantaneous. Like I had to refresh to get it turned pink right away, but I had to refresh to get it dark red. It does take a little bit to do, but it works really well. Does that answer your question? Okay. Dashboard, we also do different forms for people to use. Since I'm in the admin finance track, request to purchase over $50. It's in our employee manual. I want to change it, but so anytime someone wants to purchase something over $50, they select their name, what they want to purchase, who they're purchasing it from. Me, it's usually Amazon or Microsoft or Dell. How much, when they want to purchase it. Is it a credit card? Is it a check? Is it a electronic file transfer? What the funding source is. All of our grants are in here, and I have to keep this up to date. There's a downfall of SmartSheets. You can't say, take this drop down and go to this sheet to find this drop down information. You actually have to change it every time. It's so annoying. But it's usually a copy and paste from another thing, and I have to go in there and in the field for that column, I have to go in there and put it in the drop down list.
We budget by task and class, and so Brandy puts those in there too, so that when I do my paying of things, I know which grant, which class, which job code it goes to. So I don't have to think about anything. It's under this task, it's under this code.
Yeah. So
and I just put it all in for my books. I don't have to think about it when I actually write the check out.
Here's all our program classes and then type of expense. And it's all in there, and it makes her life a lot easier.
The type of expenses.
Yeah, the RGL, the class, I think, has to do with which brand or whatever, and then there's a task. It's like it's different tasks in your project. So and then it goes to whoever the program manager.
So the person that's inputting this will put in who the program manager is. Me, it's usually Brandy. Or if it's a lead, a regular employee, it'll go to their lead, who is Karina, Frank, or Annika, and that email will go for a what do they call it in here as an automation? It's not quite a notification. It's approval. So it'll go through approvals. So if they decline it, an email gets sent back to that employee with a notification, please go see your lead. It was declined. If they approve it, it now goes, if they sent it to Frank, Annika, or Karina, if they approve it, it goes to Brandy. And then if she approves it, that person that put this in gets that approval message and says, yes, go ahead and do this. Sometimes it'll have extra wording on it and put it under this job code instead, because this is just a request to buy something. And then if there is like you've gone to the web page already and you know how much it costs, you can put that upload in there and then more notes. So once that happens, you get to pay it. you get to pay for something or put it in for an invoice. That's the next two forms. The first one is travel vouchers and invoices for checks and what for Dawn to send out checks. And it's basically both of them basically the same thing with the same information, but this is post buying them or however you want to call it. It's after you bought it on a credit card, you put your credit card receipt in this one here. This is the credit cards, these are the travel vouchers and invoices, all that information. They submit it, it goes through the same approval steps, same approval process. Very handy. It kind of cuts down on all the problems of Dawn getting it. And it's like, where did this come from? Who bought this? That kind of stuff.
What grant does it go to?
Yeah.
And then it also automatically, we have it set up that it automatically prints the approval thing, so I can match it up for my invoice.
Yep.
So I have all them ready to be signed, so when the board is actually signing the checks, they can see that it's gone through this approval process, that the leads have reviewed it, it's under this grant, it's for this amount of money, and Brandy's approved it. They can feel confident in signing the check that we're all good to process.
There's a lot of paperwork in the background, but we've gotten used to it. And it's pretty fast nowadays. Yeah.
Also, your pre-approval form and your post-purchase form, are those interact with each other?
No, they are separate, and we wanted to keep them separate because sometimes the pre-approval is slightly different. It's like, I want to buy this for $1,200, and then it comes out to $1,240 because of tax. I tried at the beginning to keep all this stuff in one, and it just got convoluted and just too hard. And so we separated, and it's become a lot easier because during the pre-approval process, all we need to do is know it was done. We don't need to link it back because we want what was actually paid, not what was asked for, unless there's problems. Then we go back.
How do you know when you receive the post-purchase form that this is pre-approved by the grant lead?
The lead has approved it.
Yeah.
They have to go, it goes through the lead process again. So you upload the information, you put the actual invoice in that you want to pay. Okay, I went to Amazon, I bought the equipment, and here's well, that's a bad one because it's a credit card. But I bought the t-shirts from AMJ. Here's the invoice for the t-shirts. I'd asked you before it was X amount. You already saw that, so that's why I went ahead and did it. And now I'm doing this and sending it to Annika, and Annika's going, yeah, I already approved that, so I'm going to approve this. This looks good. Make sure you put it in the right things. That's all good. And she approves it, sends it to Brandy, and then Brandy looks and sees that it was approved, and she checks off that it's good.
So they check on it. They make sure. There's not.
And they need to remember. Oh,
There's not hundreds of these things going through every week. There's like maybe, unless it's like June or May, and we're buying a whole bunch of things, it's usually just a few a week, or it's come up to plant sale. It's a whole different story.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Can they?
Yeah. Well, yes, you can link them up by the user and the dates if you wanted to, like getting close. No, we haven't gone that far. I don't think we are going to go far because it works for us, and linking that, it might get convoluted because sometimes you're pre-approving for 5 or 6 different things and you're buying them on 5 or 6 different websites. There's not this is that, they're different essentially, because you can pre-approve for, I'm going to purchase these items and these are where I found them. But like Zen, our research person, he has to buy stuff from different locations all the time, but he doesn't put in every single thing in that pre-approval process. He just lump sums. These are the places I'm buying it from. This is how much it costs, all in the notes. And then he goes through each one of those will have its own, if he's buying it with credit card, it will have its own line item for that.
So it's basically, yeah, it's a POS.
I deal with the SmartSheets. She deals with bookkeeping. So that's our credit card, invoice, travel voucher, that kind of stuff. We've put other stuff in here. Well, any questions on those two forms? Because I know a lot of people like that kind of stuff.
Want to get reimbursement from SCC,
Mhm.
need a special funding.
It'll show you the travel voucher.
So
We
down
modify
here we have our different templates and vouchers and that kind of stuff. And we have as an attachment right here, they still download an Excel file and fill that out because that's the format. And they fill it out and then they upload it into that other form. And then Dawn can print off that form and that makes it easy. Speaking of printing.
Do you want to open it? Because we modified it a
Oh.
little bit
We did? Okay.
so that we could, it's not exactly the same thing, but it looks very similar. So that we could add different grants to it, but also so that we could utilize it for both credit cards that are being paid to the personal reimbursements and the credit card going on the district. To be done in one voucher form instead of separate. The staff were like, why do I have to fill out 2 travel vouchers? It's like, well, let's make it so you can do it in one. So we have a little checkbox that says this is on the credit card for the district. And so it goes over to the district total. The other is your personal reimbursement side.
If you want to go over that more in depth, go see Dawn. I've just been told I've got so much time left. So that's all our policies and that kind of stuff, that form. If we go back up, we also have leave request forms. So when someone wants to request leave, it's the same kind of approval process in automations. They do the start date, the end date and times and all that. And it will show up on this sheet that's based on a calendar. And you can see when everyone's actually got their leave. Back to the printing. She said all those vouchers and stuff get printed automatically. That is because her Outlook sees that subject line and automatically prints it in Outlook. It's a rule in Outlook. So it prints directly on, as soon as she gets that email, it sends it to the printer and it prints it. And that's her printer at her desk. So she doesn't actually have to print it. She just reaches over and puts it in the stack wherever she puts it. Yeah, under rules in Outlook, you can set stuff up like that. It's an automation for Outlook. Like the typical rules is, oh, this person sent me an email, put it in this folder. That's the typical rules, but there's tons of other rules you can go into in there.
The other payment automation thing is the CREP submittals, which we have separated out from the regular ones because there's just so many of them and it's hard to keep track of them and where they are on the status of things. So we created a little approval process type of for that too, that you could also see this and check off. And I even invoiced it and I paid it and they can put it in CPDS. So
you can see other forms that we have in here. And then these are all links to different, like we have a link to the per diem site. So the link never changes. They're always putting the latest thing up there and it goes to OFM. So that our users can just click on that and get the per diem. They don't have to print it out and get told, oh, that's an old one. They can just go here and get it.
We also have, if you scroll, you can see where everything is. If they have something to submit to the board, there's a little items to submit for the board. If you've got a plan that needs to be submitted or you have a proposal or something, you click on that and fill out the information and attach what you want board approval for, and then it gets added to the agenda for the board meeting.
Yep.
Andrew?
Yes.
Voucher about it. Expense voucher?
Yep.
Who will change the mileage?
I do. Yeah. I just download it and re-upload it and it becomes a new version on there. And I can, as an admin, I can go back through all the versions.
And we have our travel policy on there.
Yep.
We just updated to provide some clarification. The only other thing
you have a link to that site.
No, No, when it changes, she lets me know and I go change it. Usually it's because she gets one and realizes it's wrong and then I go in there and change it because I don't notice the changes. So down here is where there's reports on all the stuff of the forms up at the top. So if I have a credit card request use, it would show up here. It's because it's by user. It's the ones I sent in. And credit card users, the receipts, I can see all mine. So that user will see what they've put in. I think the only people that really use it a lot is the CREP people, so they can see, hey, these still need to get done. And they're still in the queue to be paid out.
Are you gonna show the grant?
Yes.
Okay, and go to conservation, but what is the correct acronym for?
Oh, Conservation Reserve Enhancement Program.
It's the riparian program,
So,
not
Don't-
to be compared to the new and improved state riparian program.
Yeah.
We love much more.
yes. So, this is what Dawn just mentioned that she wants to show off.
No, I just,
Okay, this is our master contract list that has all of our contracts. And it has who the manager is, when it starts, when it ends. And that's just a calculation of percentages. As you can see, some of them haven't been updated. And then how much funds are left? What's left to spend, when it was done, and then some colorful graphic things, when it was last modified and all that.
Are those values manually updated or
Yes.
are they drawn?
They're manually updated on these sheets.
scroll and show them that they're federal, state, or all. grouped
Yes.
separately.
So Dawn updates them here. So the leads can actually go in here and budget their stuff. Yeah, they're all federal commission, all that. So when we get a new grant, I go in here, create a sheet that then links to this, and all the leads can see it. So they don't actually have to go find it somewhere. Yeah.
People are asking for office supplies. Does that make a list and does it go to your office?
Yeah, we don't use it anymore. Because we're mostly in the office, so we just say, hey, Dawn, we need this. It was used. Yeah, we used it a lot during COVID. But it's kind of just left over. But there's a bunch of things on there we don't use as much anymore. Yeah. Yes, I have a template right here. I put the hyphen at the beginning, so it's always at the top, and I do a right click,
Here's some formulas.
save as new, and I give it the grant number or grant name and code or whatever, and they're all in these folders. And every once in a while we'll have more than one and we add on to it, or we want it's taking multiple years, so we'll stop one and archive it and whatnot, and it's in these folders. Oh, yeah. They essentially look the same. Yeah. I mean, it's just a template with all of this, and we can send these to you if you want. And there's where the dates are coming from. And this isn't linked, but if I did link it, it would have like a little triangle saying it's linked somewhere else.
And are you in QuickBooks?
Do you check the budget for each year or just for the whole?
I put the budget in there for the whole project period.
There you go. I'm like, I don't know. I create the sheet and then it's all hers to deal with.
I mean, the leads have the ability to work the master list, see where they are in the budget and say, okay, we've got X amount of money left. And then they can click on implementation and see per task what they have as of when I last invoiced. It may be April or whatever, so they have to figure out what they've approved for May. But it gives them a better idea rather than me just giving them Excel spreadsheet later, or me having it and them not knowing what's going on, they can just look at this at any time and then see what's remaining there.
Maybe they want to enter all those after expenses data to SmartSheet. Okay.
Currently, I'm the sole person that does this type of thing. I'm getting an assistant, so she might get interest in some on that.
So I'm gonna try to wrap this up pretty quick. This is what's called proofing. When I do a video for, for whoever in the office, I will upload it to, SmartSheets, and they can watch it in here. And, you know, oh, I don't like that. I'm gonna put a logo up there. And now I can come back to this because I now know this little spot on this video needs a logo. It's a great way of proofing videos, audio, PDFs, and Word documents. It's a great, if you want lots of people to proof your documents or videos, this is a great way to do it.
So they're not editing the actual document, they're just adding notes.
Yep, they're just adding notes at a certain time frame
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff. Yeah, we have odds and ends in here as well. Like, this is my first aid kits. We need to order this kind of thing.
We have new employee checklist.
Oh, yes. This is our new employee checklist.
New employee, and they have all this stuff.
All this stuff that they need to go through and do. And then there's my list of IT setup steps. And then what I need to go through with them when they come into the office.
So that way we don't miss any of the papers that we're supposed to have filled out for them, because they're all in there.
Yep. Yeah, we have
We
have
send them
lots of
the
them.
actual link to the new employee checklist, and they go through them and download the forms they need to fill out. And
Yep.
all that stuff.
They even have links to the Endurus cybersecurity training on there after Brandy actually adds them to it or
They need to see
asks-
those.
ask in Endurus to actually add them. So, but but when it's set up, they can click on it.
Mhm.
I
So they
think,
see their own personal type checklist.
Yep. And then we also have, as admins, because SmartSheets, you can say these people have this access to this folder. Brandy, I, and Dawn and the leads have, I don't know if the leads, no, Frank does, I don't. Yeah, this is my assets list. So all of our assets are located here and it gets backed up. And I can attach things. I've now been told every December I have to account for everything. So this last winter, I went through and accounted for everything. So this December, all those check marks will come off and I'll check mark them again.
For the inventory.
Yeah, this is our inventory and assets list that the auditor's gonna ask you.
It's an
for, right?
asset inventory.
Yeah,
Or is it always assets?
both, I think.
Capital and small and attractive assets.
Small, it's not that $50 item.
It's not supplies.
But we do put our, like power tools that go out in the field. Because we've had those stolen and we put those, even though they're $60 or something. But usually we don't put anything that's, that's low cost. That's not a, we don't put paper on there.
Right.
Responsible for entering.
Yeah, I'm responsible for that. Yeah. She made me responsible for assets. Yep. Yeah, well, everything large cost. And the thing is, I'm responsible for it because most of the assets come through me anyways, because they're mostly laptops and computers and that kind of stuff. Everything else, we have a form. Like if the leads need to fill out something, like we bought, partition, cubicles. They can put that in there if they want. And it's just a little form that they can fill out. I've taken up a lot of time.
We got 15 minutes.
Sorry.
Okay.
Well, we can go over.
It's all good.
Okay, I will stop sharing. Yes.
Sorry, another question.
Is this a purchase?
Yeah.
QuickBook, I'm sorry, SmartSheets, is it a purchase or is it a subscription?
It is a subscription, but you do not need, this is very important. We spend $750 a year on it, somewhere around there, for three users. And I say 3 users because those are the licensed users. That's me, Brandy, and Dawn. We're the only ones that can create sheets, create columns, and that kind of stuff. All the rest of our users are free users. They can't create anything. They don't really need to create anything. They come to me, it takes me, usually it's like, oh, we want this form. It takes me like 20, 30 minutes to create the first version of a form. They don't actually need those accounts. So it's compared to some stuff like QuickBase. This is really cheap. You do not need everyone to have an account because they're not going to use it. You have 3 accounts and that's all you need. Unless yeah, unless you go really in depth into relational databases. This is not a relational database, people. Do not use this as a relational database. Everyone know who does it? Raise your hand if you don't know what a relational database is. Okay, relational databases. We have a master table and then we have child tables. And if you create something in a child table, you can reference it from the master table. This is not that. It's automated in a relational database. This, you have to create it manually. And it is a pain in the butt to do. So please don't use it. If you're looking for a customer relation database, an actual database, like true database admins do not like calling this a database. Use it the way it's built for one-off sheets, a little bit of linkage here and there, but not something you want to do a customer relation database in, unless you're totally fine putting everything on one sheet. Okay, sorry, that was a little preachy there.
A little forceful.
Yeah. But I
use it to track all of our election stuff this year too, and some admin things. When we have things come up as an admin group, we use it to track that, make sure things don't fall through the cracks. But definitely with our elections, like this is when we publish the election. This is the next time. These are all the outreaches we're doing. So we know when it's done, we can click it all off. And at the end, we're like, well, here's the big list of everything we did. If somebody wants to see how we manage our election this year.
Timelines and checklists, they're great.
And the people who have free access.
Yeah, yep. Well, they can't create the reports. You create the reports and then they just open them and it's reported. And with they can use the filtering if they want. And that's fine. It's when you're creating sheets, creating columns, and essentially creating the bigger stuff, but they can create as many rows as they want, use the forms, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm Jennifer Boy. I'm the director at Police Conservation District. I think we started using SmartSheets about 7 years ago. And this was really cool because we did not coordinate ahead of time. But a lot of what Andrew showed you is a lot of what PCD uses. And a lot of that was in that shared workspace that is now empty. And we need to figure out how it got deleted and get that repopulated because it really is a Smartsheet is not plug and play. You do need to create what you need to make it work for you. But because of those templates, a lot of the things that Andrew showed you, Palouse probably created, or things that we might be using, Andrew created, or some other user across the state and CD families. There are some pre-made tools and solutions in there that you can use and tweak and adapt. So I'm going to try to complement what Andrew showed you and show you some of the other things we use. We have a slightly different user profile at the district. Almost all of our staff have licenses. So we have almost probably 20 plus licenses. Even our AmeriCorps have licenses. So we might have 23 licenses. We have a lot of licenses. But people, I'll show you a little bit how some of our program managers use it to really manage their program, in addition to what we're doing to do some of our finance and admin stuff. So it's whatever you need. Similar to what Andrew had, we have like our dashboard up here. This is this place where staff are going on a regular basis to have that one-click access to most of our internal processes for finance and admin. A few things, we have a help desk ticket, so if somebody has an IT issue, we don't have internal IT, then we have a contractor, but that contractor gets pinged and our finance and admin specialist gets pinged and she can manage those tickets, and that's something quick and easy. So we have that. We do have an office supply order request form. So again, a really simple web form where folks can fill it out, and then that goes to one of our finance and admin staff. You already saw the leave request and the leave request calendar, so I'm not going to spend time on that. We do things a little bit different on the purchasing end of things, but we have a goods and services form. So when somebody does make a purchase, they're putting it in immediately the date they purchased, they're uploading their receipt here, they're linking it to a grant code, all of those other things. They're indicating what kind of payment it was, if it's a check that needs to be written or if it went on a credit card. And on the back end, because I don't think Andrew showed you the sheet, that data comes right into a sheet like this. So as soon as that web form is submitted, this is where it shows up. And you can create all kinds of filters. So this is a filter for the things that I will go in and approve from that are being charged to overhead or implementation grant. But I can turn that filter off and I can look at everything that's been turned in for a particular date period or throughout history. I also have a filter for like our consultants. So if I want to know how much they charge on their contract, I can go in and just look at a particular consultant. So you can set up these filters really quick and easy, which are really cool.
Another helpful thing that I find that Andrew set up for me, I saw that you have the approved, but I actually have a conditional formatting that turns them yellow. So I know when they've been approved, and when I check it as being paid, it grays it out. So all the ones that are yellow and gray, I don't have to deal with them, but I can still search them and find out who I paid, when was the last time we paid the Linden Tribune, and just pull up all the Linden Tribune stuff.
Yeah, it's really useful. This is my filter of things that have been submitted for my approval that haven't been approved yet. So you can set that.
What if this purchase, you want to split the expenses to like multiple grant funding sources?
We have an option on our form that has notes in here if it's being charged more than one job code.
We
And you
just
can
have
set that
labels
as
to tag
different.
it. You can tag 3 or 4 grants, and then under the notes that would be like $50 to this one, 60 to that one, blah, blah, blah.
There's an option for the drop downs. You can have multiple selections. So you can, and then in the notes you say $50 and stuff. Do it.
And yeah, the reason I don't want to spend too much time on this is because how you set up your forms is going to follow how you set up your policies, right? So these are just the procedures that we're laying out as staff to execute those policies. But if you need pre-approval or not, that's going to go back to every district specifically on how their finance policies are set up. So, and you can set it up any way you need to. We have a vehicle dashboard, so it's got a reservation system so people can see what vehicles are available and they can check out a vehicle. Way more information than you'd ever need, all the insurance cards and, what to do in case of an accident. And all the staff have SmartSheet on their cell phones, so they can access all this real time when they're not at their desk, which is fantastic. So the sign in, sign out board, as you're walking into work, you can be signing in, I'm here, or out. Vehicle mileage, as soon as you're done driving for your trip, you can be sitting in the car and enter your vehicle mileage. And it's immediately going to go again on the back end into this screen that our finance and admin can go into this form, the sheet, and then run their filters or to pull out particular things that are going to go to commission, RCBP, or whatever it might go. So a couple things that we use it for, we have a whole HR portal with an individual dashboard that goes to all of these different areas. So I've already preloaded them just for the interest of time, but like our classification and compensation portal has our organizational chart, It has our grades and our compensation information, and it has, every most current position description for every employee at the district, or every position at the district. Also, you can, if you have to process a change to a current employee, they're going from full-time to part-time, they're going from this to that. We have a whole set of forms that can go through our HR team here, which is cool. We also have a recruitment portal. So it has our SOPs, it has sample interview questions, the request to start or recruitment is initiated through here. We have an amazing form, which is a credible service calculation form. We do steps based on credible weeks of service and a similar responsibility or position. So our staff, when they want to make an offer, they fill out this form and they put in every relevant position and the start and end date, and it will spit out exactly how many weeks of credible service time they have and where their offer needs to be made on a particular step in one of our grades. So it takes all the guesswork out. It's completely transparent and objective. It's
That's cool.
really
I
cool.
like that.
Which that you've already set up?
Yeah,
Or is that an outside source that's helping you with that?
our finance and admin person built the sheet. So you're gonna need, we have quite a few folks who will build sheets, but we have like we've got a smart sheet guru, just kind of like Andrew, like someone who's really good and can help build specific sheets or reports. You also, as a licensed user, have access to the SmartSheet Center for Excellence, which is their training program. And you get a certain amount of particular design consulting appointments with a SmartSheet employee, if you'd like. So there's some other options there as well.
So are you, anyone familiar with Zoho? Would you find these two comparable?
I've very small familiarity with it. And I haven't used it at all, so I couldn't say one way or the other.
Yeah, there's also like offer letter templates, that checklist for new employees that you saw. We also have a portal for employee evaluation, so people know right at early on in the year what exactly their evaluation form is going to look like, what they're going to be evaluated based on. There's links to the policies and the policy manuals. We have an employee relations portal, which walks the staff through the policy expectations, including like our open communication and conflict resolution. There's a conflict resolution request form here, and it has a series of those automatic notifications. If there's mandatory reporting for harassment, discrimination, violence, there's a formal reporting form that's linked in here. And then we have a performance issue. All staff have access to see, these are the steps, this is how it works. You're going to verbal counseling or you're getting a memo. There's some templates in here for supervisors and staff to know what to expect. Links to performance improvement plans, things like that. So that's kind of a bunch on our internal staff, kind of admin side. We also use it to support our board. This is the interface that I use most and keep up. So I created a board portal, so the board can come in here. They can link to every past dashboard for any board meeting. I'll show you what that looks like. They can request to add an agenda item. They can link to the current board meeting and so many resources, like all the commission modules and our annual plan, our long range plan, WCD resources, the CAP guidance, all that stuff kind of at their fingertips. So they have a one-stop shop.
Do you keep your agendas in SmartSheets as well?
We do, yeah. So there's a link to every past dashboard. We started in 2018. So if they link to any of these board meetings, it's going to pull up a dashboard that has everything that was used for that board meeting, and the board has access to this ahead of time. So the agendas are linked in here, so they know what the agenda is going to look like going into that meeting. And then this actually, that's why I preloaded them all. This will actually also during the meeting we can go in and mark you know, if a motion went forward, was approved, who moved, who seconded, it's a permanent record, of that kind of mirrors and is a check for our minutes too. So,
So the agendas have public also. Do you have two versions, one in SmartSheet and one for?
we have one version and it gets updated live as those actions are made. Yep. Or the next day if they're not made during the meeting, but.
Just post this, agenda to the website.
Yep, so all these sheets, you just click a button to share and you get a hyperlink and you just use it on your website where we need to, yeah. All the, there's a public comment forum, so if folks submit a public comment through the website, it pulls into here.
Is this something that you think works better for larger districts as opposed to, say, 3-step people? It seems like a lot of what both Whatcom and Palouse use it for is almost like an intranet system. And so I'm just wondering what you would think about. Instead of having, what do you think SmartSheets would be useful at the 2, 3, 4, 5 person staff level?
I'm gonna let Dawn talk to that from a finance and admin perspective. From the board support as being that main interface with the board, I would absolutely still use something like this for the board.
Yeah, I
support.
agree with that because, I mean, it's providing, especially remote into one single location for the board would be great. And it's a great checks and balances and stuff for any size district, I think. Because it's catered to your policies, you go through the process, and even if there's only 2 or 3 people in your district, you can lose invoices and you can misplace stuff and you can say, well, did you get that approved or whatever? Whereas if you're going through this entire process, you're seeing that it went through steps. Instead of going to a secondary approval, you just have the final approval, which is your manager, which is no big deal, but at least you have the paperwork backed up so that your board can see that it did go through an approval process and it shows where it's going. And that you're not letting anything slip through the cracks because everything is being documented to go with the check or you're not writing the check.
And every cell and every sheet has a cell history. So you can look at the timestamp of when and what user made a modification.
And
Which is
attachment.
a great auditing record.
I noticed that you create a lot of forms of, I just wonder if there one person in your district or a team or multiple staff from different teams who develop all these things.
Yeah, I would say it's a team approach. So I've developed most of the things on the board support side. Our finance and admin team have built most of the things on our staff internal dashboard. And then I'm going to quickly show you an example of how a program manager built a program dashboard. And they built that themselves. Again, all the reports are linked. They can see them here. We've got a link to the state auditor's fit test information. They can link to the contracts and agreements. And when they pull those up, not only do they have the details of all those contracts and cost share agreements, they can actually pull up an attached PDF of the contract or cost share agreement and see all that in one place. Let's see. Cool thing we use SmartSheet for, it might be overkill, but we do a 360 evaluation for the director every year, and that's any of the staff that are directly supervised by the director have participate, as well as partners and the board. We also do a board self-evaluation every year. So every board member gets a link to a survey. That survey, as soon as it's submitted, it populates data real time that only the board and myself can see. And it pulls the data into this landing page that has a copy to the actual sheet where all the raw data came in, so everyone can see it. It has a comments report, and then if there was data in here, it would be populating this graph to show what's been submitted, and then you can look through all the questions and see, maybe the board governs lawfully. That's pretty standard. Maybe all 5 say strongly agree, or maybe somebody really disagrees, and it's a great conversation piece for that board evaluation, having some governance. So,
Does it keep the survey anonymous?
you can choose. So the board is they're not evaluating themselves as a board member, they're evaluating the board as a whole. So but theirs is anonymous, I believe. The one for the 360 director evaluation, it is anonymous for partners who respond and staff who respond. But the board members, since they're evaluating the director, actually put their name to it. But this is the landing page for that. It has a link to my position description. It has the timeline, a link to each of these responses. And as those are populated, the board can go in and see my self-evaluation, all the data. I can link my updates and accomplishments that I've given in here. They can go in and look at the staff responses. So requested for, how many have been submitted, and look at all that data real time, answer those questions. And then again, the same thing for partner organizations that may have participated or board member responses. So just another cool thing you can do. And then finally, just from a program perspective, so this is a dashboard for our education and outreach program. Our research and monitoring program uses something similar as well. It has all the needed documents, forms, and data, information, and resources for the whole staff in that team. So this was built by the program manager. At the time, it was Jody Proud. Now she's efficient, so she works for all of us now, which is wonderful. But Jody built this, and you can just see like some of the content in here, things that are specific for volunteers versus outreach communications versus K through 12, Envirothon, events, all kinds of event tracking and planning sheets. If you're having a catering event, there's like a tracking sheet for that. If you're having, anything, there's a variety, producer feedback, our talk series feedback, things that have been created to help bring them together as a program. And then one thing that was very cool, as part of succession planning, when our manager was leaving, they built this dashboard specific for the incoming staff person who was going to be taking on that position. So when I started onboarding our new manager at the beginning of the year, we pulled up this dashboard and it was their roadmap to everything from the position manual to like day-to-day links, a task report of status on certain high-level tasks that needed to be looked at. And it was a cool succession planning tool. Yeah.
How much of this the forms that built out all that could be shared? Like that was by the district?
Almost all of it, and a lot of it wasn't that awesome. Shared. That was awesome.
The documents that are attached to it are, the proprietary for the district. Those wouldn't be, but we could easily copy everything out, delete everything, and then you have a template to go. And with the forms and everything.
Yeah.
Related to that, like we're district doesn't have SmartSheets right now. What's the time investment to build out a platform?
For her platform, years. For mine, 6 months to a year. But it all depends on what you want to use it for. She's gone down a lot farther than I have. And then we've gone down farther than most districts have. It's just depending on what you want to use it for. I would say that's starting with the three user account. It's a great place to start. And you start with some of the basic stuff like an in and out board, some of the credit card receipt stuff and the invoice receipts. Start with that, and that'll get you a good inroad in how it works and what you need to do. And then you're going to come up with, oh, I can do this. I saw this in Jennifer's presentation. I want to do that. And you just keep on going with that. And you come up with ideas that you can use it for. I mean, we've got tons of just straight forms that we send out. Hey, I want a form for this particular event. We send it out. People reply. We have an event. I mean, just for that alone, SmartSheets is great.
Oh, I don't want to track email, so for like coming to Wade, I'm like, all we need to click this web form, tell me what carpool option you want. Are you gonna eat lunch brown bag on the way? Or are you gonna go and stop and eat on the way? And like everyone fills it out and you just look and it's there and you're not like tracking emails. Something super easy.
Potluck.
Yeah, potluck, yeah.
Potluck.
Who's coming to the picnic and who's bringing what, you know?
I mean, it's used for very small things, for one-off things, but it can be used for something that will stretch a decade if you wanted to.
And this is at the discretion of a lot of the staff, right? Like, so our program managers decide if they want to use something this sophisticated or something a little bit less. We're all using the admin stuff and we're all using the salary tracking and the tie into grants. That kind of stuff is required, but how they want to do their communication within the program is kind of discretionary. Here's an example. The last one I have on our website, click here for a request for assistance. And when you do, the public can fill out, you know, I want some help on this. It comes in on the back end with that person's name, what they're interested in, their contact information, their interest. And then our managers can go in and assign a staff person that you're responsible for getting back to them. And they get a notification automatically. And then they click in, I did follow up when it was, you know, any other pertinent information. So it's like helping distribute workload.
Ours does somewhat the same thing, but we have check boxes for each program. So if it's someone checks the forestry, because we had problem 2 weeks ago, they checked multiple things, but let's see, they check forestry, it goes to the forestry people. If they check wildfire, it goes to the wildfire. But if they check all of them, it'll go to multiple people. And we had automation, we had an issue, it'll go to the first person. I had to create an automation for each one, but it took me 5 minutes to fix that. And it will go to each one, and then there's the check boxes that say, yes, we've contacted this person. Who contacted it? Very simple.
Yeah.
Loose. So when you implemented all of this smart sheet in 2018, or whenever it was, how much pushback did you get from staff? How much training time did it take to implement it?
Really good question. So in 2015, we were a staff of 3. In 2018, we were a staff of almost 20. So we needed structure, we needed something. And so while there were some pushback, people knew that we needed to make things more streamlined, easier, trackable, and we needed structure. We didn't have structure, and when you have 3,
Right.
that's a different thing that you need. And so there really wasn't a lot of pushback. We made it mandatory that everyone took the Center for Excellence training, which was fantastic, to give them just some basic level of use. And if they wanted to build sheets, that was kind of up to them. But there were the standard finance and admin ones that our internal guru built that they had to use. And now, yeah, people like it. It's not, my disclaimer, I'll say it's not a financial software. It is a communication tool. It's a tracking of,
The finance is.
Gotta go to QuickBook or SBS or something, and even like Excel is a much stronger program for doing formulas and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah,
than-
formulas are
than
not
this. So
optimistic.
it's a
They're not
communication
optimal there.
tool. It's a.
Yeah,
But it's
I
a
think
nice
that's a good
centrally
idea.
located thing. We started ours during the lockdown, basically, where we used it. And it was I would ping something to George saying, okay, you gotta approve these bills to be paid. Otherwise, things were like falling through the cracks. Because we couldn't see each other because we were shut in our houses. And so we had no real problem with pushback because we had no other choice to do it. And then as we got back into the office, it's like, okay, we're migrating the in and out board. It's now here. You want to do a travel voucher, you need to upload it here. You want to ask for a credit card or pay credit card charges, here's the form you fill out, upload it. I mean, it's working, but it really hasn't been traumatic for our staff to do it.
For the new employees, it's a lot easier teaching them this than go here on this, in this folder, and go here in that folder, and this Excel file over there. They just go in here and fill out a form, which is pretty basic until you get to the GL codes and grant codes, but they ask their lead. You know, what's this? And then we have a link that actually gives them more information about those codes as well.
Poor Hillary.
Have any concern about the data safety? You have backup plan, and other than the SmartSheet, do you use backup your data elsewhere, like say your forms, documents, some other place like file storage or folder or computer? You know, just.
Do we have backups? Yes. As an IT person, I have as much secure is a very weird thing in my world because as I came into the IT farm, the IT domain, there's nothing secure. Nothing's ever secure. The best security you can have is burying a safe 300 feet deep and throw away the key. And even then someone can dig it up. So it's one of those, the security on this is pretty good. I've never heard of SmartSheets having a major data breach, unlike other companies out there. Not this type of company, but everyone has data breaches. It's gonna happen. It's how they manage it is what it is. I like the security on this. You have to keep up with it. It's like these users and these users, but they have groups in SmartSheets. So when there's a new employee, all I got to do is add them to the group and they have access to all that group has. And then we have the admin group. We have the leads and admin group. You keep track of all that and it's pretty easy. If you start doing, I'm going to add this person and then I'm going to add this person. No, you got to do it with groups. The security is pretty good. The backups, we back up to, there's some code that someone created that SmartSheets created that it will back them all your sheets up to Excel. And then I go through the sheets every once in a while and make backups of those. Just a copy and I archive them somewhere that nobody else can see them, so that when they search for the sheet, 2 or 3 don't pop up. And I essentially archive them in SmartSheets. Yeah. Because the only problem I see, well, there's code that runs on a schedule that will download all the Excel files, but it doesn't download the attachments. But the attachments on there are also usually on our server as well. So I'm not really worried about it as much. And that's why I make backups of the internal SmartSheets backups every once in a while.
So Spokane has we've done like one-off. We do a little bit here, a little bit there. We don't have these integrated systems like you guys do. Have you had to develop like roadmaps, like, okay, we got a new employee, make sure we add them here, add them here, add them here, add them here, new grant here. Is it all here?
That's the employee checklist, the IT portion,
Mhm.
it's all in there.
Mhm.
So I go through, it's like, I got to add them to this, I got to add them to that.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is, every time I remember that I need to do this, I add it to that sheet because so I don't forget the next time.
And then adding or deleting the contract grant.
That's all. There's always Andrew, you forgot to add it to this. I get that quite a bit.
And they can request access to a sheet if they try to show one of these widgets and looking through, then it sends to the owner, request.
Yep. That's where you use the groups. It's really nice.
I just wanted to share. I noticed your vehicle mileage log, and we had QR codes that were put on a sticker. And in the grip, pulled up the sheet and info.
There you go, Dawn.
Yeah,
You don't have to write them anymore.
Yeah.
I like it. See, this is why we have something like this. We can all share ideas. I'm getting ideas from Jennifer. I just got an idea there. Great.
I know Brady has a few of them.
Yeah, she's been taking notes.
She was the
I'm
one
gonna be
back when-
very busy.
Yeah, Brandy's all over it.
It's covered in it.
Yeah, right?
What?
On the mileage log, we
Yep.
had write art. I just upload that as backup for
Yep.
vouchers. So is there a report that you can spit out from Smartsheet that has it all together? Oh.
Yeah, and you can run it by grant code, you can run it by.
Vehicle or date.
And then, yeah.
vehicle. Yeah, it's for vehicle.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm guessing you could
Yeah.
find, gas payments too. To say, okay, this is our 10-year-old vehicle, this is how much it did in gas and how much it costs and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you can tie it all in.
Cool, so it seems like this is just the beginning of a broader, longer, continued conversation,
Yeah, we could have both gone for 2 hours.
honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Also, just add, like, Smartsheets can be very overwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're not, you don't have Smartsheets right now, like, just try it out, like the examples I gave, like, we use it for our contact form through our website. I have a community outreach form that I use internally for any staff that want me to post like events or do a social media post or make them a video for something. I mean, it's nice to get your feet wet with those little things. And back to kind of Ryan's question about like, you know, how big of an organization, you can be as small as 2 people, and it is just such a great communication tool. So try it out with maybe some little things first and try not to feel too overwhelmed, because once you get on a roll with it, it really is nice and you can save those templates and then you can just keep reusing and learn more and create more automations and go from there.
I don't remember if they have a trial version. Do they have a trial version?
They do, I'm not sure.
They do? Okay. And even the 750 for a whole year for 3 users, totally worth it. And I have a friend that has he's part of a global company, and they use Smartsheets for essentially what she was showing, I was showing. They globally use it. And if you have a lot of remote, going back to is it good for 3 or 4 users? 3 or 4. If they're remote all the time, it's so worth it.
Yeah, when we, realized COVID was coming that day, and we might get shut down that night, it was super easy. It was like everyone be in the office in 30 minutes.
Mhm.
We met for like 20 minutes, grab your laptop, go home, and it was like nothing ever happened. Everyone was fully operational. I mean, because they had a laptop, a VPN, and the whole, in all the platforms on Smartsheet.
Yep.
Smartsheet tried to be less. Definitely.
Well, it's because they want you to buy all the licenses for everybody. Because you get more use out of it then, but
We might reevaluate that.
yeah. Most of my users would never use the actual licensed version of it. So the leads might, the leads might, I know Karina and Annika would, Frank, not so much. But they would have that ability to do that. And it would probably get so convoluted. Right now, it's like very structured where everything is. I'm an IT person. If you give access to everybody, you're gonna get things all over the place and it's not gonna be ordered and structured.
Yeah, that being said, every Smartsheet user can organize their account and their sheets in the way that makes sense for their brain. So even though I share a lot of sheets that a lot of other staff are on, how they're organized in my account may be totally different than how they're organized in their account. And they could have hundreds of sheets that they've created for their own solutions that I don't have access to. You can pick and choose who you're sharing the sheets with in your organization. Or if you're lumping a bunch of sheets that a group needs, you put in a workspace and you just share that whole workspace, and then everyone has access to everything in the workspace. So
most of my users don't even know there's folders or workspaces. They just go through the dashboard, and and then I'll send them links, or they're going up to the search menu and just searching it out, and it works.
Yeah.
Randy, you had a question?
Wondering,
Does SmartSheets have a free user version as well as a paid user version?
Yeah, oh,
I
you,
think I remember when I was at Kansas City, I think I remember before Kansas City bought subscriptions for everyone, that there was like a few licenses and everyone else had a free.
yeah, you, me and Dawn have a license. Everyone else in our district has free.
So it's literally all free right now.
Yeah. Yeah, they just log into SmartSheets and it's an account and it's under, and then we add them to our, well, when I add them to our group, it sends them invite to SmartSheets. And then I know they're in our groups. And then they can be, they can be shared to some of their workspaces. Like we can share a workspace or a file or something as long as they have a SmartSheets account and they're free.
That question is to go back to what Jen was saying about, like, there's a reason why, like, people like to organize information the way that their brains are wired, and that is very helpful in terms of accessing accessing all the function and spreadsheets, you know. So I think that might be helpful to people if you are tight on your budget and you can only have so many licenses, that it might make sense that you can potentially utilize these sort of like free accounts to allow you to have that level of functionality.
Yeah, and even those free accounts, they can organize all the sheets that they're shared to in any way that they want without messing up anything that one of the paid users has. The only thing they can't do is create a new sheet or a new solution. So they can use anything and organize everything,
Users that.
but they can't create anything. And you can lock things in your
Yep.
sheets so columns can be locked.
You can make a workspace that if I wanted to share something with her that I don't want her to change, but I want Corey to change, she can change it, I can change it, she can only view it.
I can just be a viewer, Corey can
Yep.
be an admin or an
And then
editor.
she can't share it, but we can share it.
Mhm.
You can set those restrictions on every sheet and workspace.
And in every link that you produce, it can be accessible to only your SmartSheet licensed users, or it can be accessible to the public, and you can set those
Yep.
types of restrictions on there as well.
We've got like a quarter of the people that we started with.
This is really thrilling stuff, you
Yep.
know? But,
Yeah,
That's
we could.
New track.
We should probably, I mean, we should start up like a group or meet every 3 months or so, but someone actually has to take that upon themselves to do. Most of the people that use SmartSheets are probably going to be admin people and managers, not necessarily the end users. I'm probably the outlier that I'm the IT guy. Besides, oh, and I guess I use it a lot.
We do a lot of back and forth of, let's tweak this, let's move
Yep.
that, because we're using it and we set it up and it's not quite what we want.
Yep.
And so we're like, we need to add this column or make it do this or whatever. We need this to happen now, man.
And it's pretty quick to do that. It's like Brandy will send me, can you add this? And like 5 minutes later, here you go. And she gets to test it out. Oh, switch the text on this form, done. And all these sheets, if you want forms for them, it's not just one form. You can have loads of different forms going to the same sheet. Like we have our contact form is both in Spanish and English.
Nice.
ChatGPT did it for the last one. ChatGPT did it, and then I gave it to the people in the office, and the 3 people that knew Spanish all managed it and then did it. The rest of it was done by a fluently speaking Spanish person. Fluently Spanish speaking, whatever. Yes.
ChatGPT, because I use
Yeah.
that a lot. You
Oh.
can like copy and paste it.
Yeah. I shouldn't have gone. That's a whole different ball game. If you want to talk about ChatGPT, Gemini, and all those, let's not do that here. We're already
All right.
30 minutes over. So
I just want you to, like, for whatever it's worth to everyone in the room, I went from one district that didn't really use SmartSheets to its potential to another district that did. I have to tell you that I really love running board meetings through SmartSheets, et cetera. So I really, if you can get there, I would encourage you to go there. I think that there is a lead time to getting yourself set up, but I think it's worth it. I would love for us to all be able to like migrate to and excel and our use of this platform. I would love to be part of a like a roundtable or a work group where we can come together and maybe even problem solve together. Like maybe we help all of us get to the next generation of what Jennifer's built out for her board portal or something like that, and we get that built out for everyone. And I think quarterly could be a bit ambitious, but maybe. But I just would ask that like maybe the team that put this presentation together would be willing to like just take the lead on how we can go to that next step. And if we can't go to that next step, Jen, maybe it's like come back to waiting in a year. Like we just plan on not doing like a rinse and repeat of what you did here today, but like what's the next step? Like we can all kind of like pace and track.
Yep, an open discussion where people can show what they have, kind of thing.
Andrew?
You've been into this, but I don't have the time frame to settle that. We have a question.
Yeah, Summer has a question online.
Hey there. I
still have
actually
a
just
TV.
want to echo the person who just spoke and the person before who said, Smartsheet was a game changer when they switched districts. And at Snohomish Conservation District, we really are trying to create like a culture around using Smartsheet. And so the person who just spoke, I am totally on board with what you just said, like a working group. Can we have some Andrew time? Can we have like every 3 months? That would absolutely. And I know there are several other of our staff, both staff and admin, that would be interested.
So there is a conversation happening about shared resources, and I'm wondering if like a Smartsheet guru would be a good shared resource.
Absolutely.
We do have templates shared in Smartsheet.
We did.
They're all gone.
Oh, no.
They got deleted somehow. Someone deleted them, and we don't know how or why. So we have to back them all. We have to find copies of them. We don't know where they went.
All right. Well, yeah, like I said, I think this is just the beginning, and like everybody else is kind of echoing. So I know it's kind of in the background. It's been on my list to try to facilitate and get people together to circle back to this conversation and continue it. So we'll continue to work together, and we'll figure out how to do it, whether it's quarterly, semi-annually, annually, or a shared resource. That's a great idea.
Well, if you want,
Is it a CTD option?
if Brandy okays it, I can be IT help and Smartsheets help set you guys up, get you going, and then you can take over from there. So if
Is
you
there
want
an option for like a quarterly CTD training or networking forum potentially?
That would be a CTD call.
yeah, that would be a Jan call.
Yeah.
Or Ryan.
Exactly. Ryan, you'd have to talk to the group to see if they can financially fit us into there.
Ask the commission to give CTD more money to do that. How's that? And ask them for GIS training too.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys. We're gonna wrap it up for tonight, but we appreciate your time, and we'll see you in the morning.
Thanks.
Okay, awesome.